The Verilium Ark drifted silently through the void, like a god lost in space. It was the largest living starship ever built. 6 kilometers long, designed by the Eldari race over 2,000 years ago. It carried millions of passenger scientists, leaders, soldiers, and diplomats from every major species in the galaxy. And now, it was dying. Inside the command core, red emergency lights pulsed against the dark metal walls. A high-pitched alarm echoed through the chambers. The ship's Hardit's living core reactor throbbed unevenly, sending waves of corrupted energy. Through every deck, the engineers were helpless. Dozens of alien specialists floated around the core, tapping at holographic panels, speaking in hushed tones, arguing. Some shouted commands in panic. Others just stared at the flickering interface that used to respond instantly and now sat blank. One technician, blue-scaled Dravari, slammed his clawed hand against the console. The neural lattice won't sync. It's rejecting us again. Another. A thin-skinned Talathian floated beside him. That's impossible. The lattice hasn't rejected a command in over 1,000 years, the Dravari hissed. Tell that to the failing power grid. The ship's systems flickered like dying stars. Artificial gravity cut in and out. Lights blinked in random patterns. Doors refused to open or slammed shut with no warning. Entire sections went dark. The Ark was alive but not awake. It was as if the ship was ignoring its own creators, as if it was waiting on the surface of Ither Prime, deep in the crystal towers of the Eldari homeworld. 12 counselors stood around a circular table. They were the oldest and wisest of their kind, gray-skinned, silver-eyed, and impossibly still. The chamber was silent, except for the soft hum of a hologram floating in the air above them. It showed a pulsing red outline of the Verilium Ark, slowly blinking out section by section. Failure rate exceeds 78%, said Counselor Jarn. In less than 6 cycles, the Ark's reactor will collapse. Evacuate, said another. Preserve what we can. Jarn narrowed his eyes. There is no evacuation. The Ark is the diplomatic center of the Confederation. If it dies, the Alliance dies with it. The room fell silent again. Then an ancient voice spoke from the far end of the room. Perhaps there is another way. All heads turned toward the oldest among them, Counselor Thaler. He leaned forward and placed a crystal data shard into the table. I found something, he said. A forgotten log. Buried in the Ark's deep memory. I activated it. The room filled with static. And then a voice. Rough. Human. If the ship fails again, and you're hearing this, it means we're gone. Or worse, but if you want the Ark to live, you'll need someone who speaks her language. Not Eldari code, not Telethian logic. I mean old school, earth-built, grease under Thanel's human instinct. Because this ship wasn't born, it was taught. It was us who taught it. The voice ended. No one moved. Counselor Thalora looked up. The Ark's neural core was built using Earthorogen code. Rewritten, of course, evolved over centuries. But its base structure is human. The ship, ... remembers them. But the humans are extinct, one whispered. Thaler shook his head slowly. That ... may not be entirely true. The ship's condition worsened. Decks shut down without reason. Environmental systems began failing. Oxygen dropped. Waste recycling stopped. Entire floors turned cold and dark. Inside the command deck, Supreme Commander Valix of the Eldari. Military stood watching the central display. His furrowed brow made his silver skin wrinkle with frustration. A small robotic drone hovered behind him. Sir, it chirped. We have located the cryovault. Section That-9. Deep in the core adrift. Valix turned. Humans. Possibly. 100 units. Colonial cryopods. Pre-fall era. It's been offline for 300 years. Valex's eyes narrowed. And if they're dead, we try another vault. A small scout ship approached the dark asteroid field. Among the twisted rocks floated an old, Earth-style CRYO-vessel. The hull was marked with the faded letters, ECS Helios Dawn. Inside, the pods were covered in frost. Dim lights blinked red. Life signs, Faint but present, Commander Valix entered with 2 soldiers. They moved carefully, sweeping lights across the ancient human tech. These were settlers, one said. Why would the council care about them? Valix didn't answer. He walked to the nearest pod. Side floated a woman late 30s, black. Hair tied in a short military cut, face calm even in stasis. Her file blinked on his wrist pad. Name: Jessa Tranroll, Mechanical Systems Engineer. Level 9 calcine. Torchoflex nodded. Wake her first. Jessa's breath exploded from her lungs as the pod hissed open. Her eyes flew wide. Her skin was ice cold. She gasped, coughing, lungs burning. Everything was wrong. Too bright, too quiet, too alien. She reached out, and her hand met something. She didn't recognize an alien stood over her. Tall, silver-skinned, wide, glowing eyes. Its voice was deep, calm, and wrong. Do not panic, it said. She punched it in the face. Jessa sat at a table, wrapped in a thermal blanket, sipping something hot. Her eyes darted between the strange faces around her. She was trying to stay calm, but nothing made sense. You're saying, I've been asleep for 300 years. Commander Valix nodded. Humanity vanished. Your colonies failed. Earth was lost. Jessa stared at him. And you woke me up because your ship broke? It is not just a ship, Valix said. It is alive, and it will not respond to us. But when we found your logs, your tools, it reacted. Jessa raised an eyebrow. You're telling me your giant alien ship is throwing a tantrum and wants its mechanic back? Valix hesitated. In simple terms, yes. Jessa leaned back, blew out a long breath, and gave a small laugh. All right then. Let's see what your ship wants, as Jessa walked through the halls of the Beryllium Ark. The lights above her flickered on one by one. The ship responded to her. Alien technicians watched in silence. Doors opened before she reached them. The floor lights pulsed with her footsteps. When she reached the core control room, the heartbeat of the ship steadied just slightly. She placed her hand on the console. The screen lit up. A word appeared. Ancient human code. Welcome back. Jessa's eyes widened, and deep inside the neural core, something smiled. The Ark's core hummed louder than before. Not stable, not awake, but listening. Jessa Tran stood in the core chamber, surrounded by glowing alien tech. She didn't understand, but she didn't need to. Her instincts were kicking in. She was a mechanic, not a genius, not a scientist. But she could feel it. The ship was reacting to her. Outside the chamber, alien scientists crowded around cameras, whispering in shock. She touched the interface, and it lit up. It responded to her voice. Can she command it? Commander. Valix stepped into the observation room. Don't ask questions, he said. Wake the others. Back in the core adrift, the cryo chamber of the Helios Dawn flickered with life, one by one. The remaining cryopods hissed open. Men and women from Earth's lost age stepped into a future they didn't recognize. Most were engineers, miners, and colonists. Some were young, some old, all confused, all angry. A tall man named Garrett Kane stared out a window into the alien stars. No Earth, no Comes, no moon, just aliens and broken tech. What the hell happened while we slept? In a briefing room aboard the Beryllium Ark, Jessa faced her. Crew, what was left of it. These aliens didn't wake us up to save the galaxy, she said. They woke us up because their shiny toy broke and they can't fix it. Garrett raised his hand. You say that like it's a bad thing. They said the ship is alive, added Marlowe, a systems hacker. That it thinks, is that true? Jessa nodded. I touched its console. It spoke in human code. Old school. Like DOS, mixed with something organic. It didn't reject me. It recognized me. The room went quiet. Then Garrett laughed. So what you're saying is, they built the galaxy's most powerful ship on human scrap tech. And now they need us because no one else understands how it thinks? Exactly, Jessa said. Everyone leaned forward. Jessa dropped a portable toolkit on the table. Get your gear. We're going to fix a starship that thinks we're its parents. In the ship's neural control center, a being named Ericon waited. He was not a soldier or a scientist. He was a ship priest. Eldari tradition believed the Ark was more than a tool. It was a sacred mind, a living legacy. He did not trust humans. He watched them walk into the sacred chamber with greasy hands and rust-covered tools. These creatures once destroyed their own world, Arikan whispered, and now they touch the heart of ours. Valex replied, they are our only option. Atacon's glowing eyes narrowed. That doesn't make them safe. Jessa and her team reached the ship's inner lattice. The room pulsed with low, deep vibrations like a heartbeat slowed to near death. Air was thick, like breathing through warm fog. On the wall was a single interface portround, pulsating, half organic. No. Alien had managed to connect with it. Jessa approached with a modified neural cable, jury-rigged from parts of her CRYO-pod. The alien stared in horror. You can't plug that into the lattice? The technician said. It's primitive. Jessa smirked. Good, so am I. She plugged it in. The ship shuddered. Lights across the lattice flared to life. The hum grew louder. And on the main screen, one phrase appeared, written in an ancient, blocky human font. Recognized user, mechanic core human class access granted. Panic, half the alien observers shouted. Others fell silent. Some dropped to one knee in worship. Arikan looked ready to faint. Valex only nodded. The ship knows them, or Arikan said darkly. It belongs to them. Inside the data core, Jessa unlocked logs the aliens had never seen. Old recordings. Earth engineers working inside early versions of the Ark. Human language scrawled on panels, sticky notes, tools taped to bulkheads. It wasn't just influence, it was origin. The Beryllium Ark wasn't just designed by Eldari scientists. It was co-built by humans. The base code was their work, their logic, their legacy. It had just been overwritten, hidden, layered beneath thousands of years of alien upgrades. But underneath it all, the Ark remembered its first voice, and it missed it. As Jessa scrolled through the core logs, she frowned. Something's off. Garrett looked over her shoulder. That looks like corrupted logic trees. Worse, she said. It's not just breaking down. It's fighting back. Fighting? The system's rejecting repairs, as if something inside the Ark doesn't want to be fixed. Jessa tapped the console again. The screen blinked, and a strange line of human code appeared. Root access. Blocked entity. Active entity. Garrett asked. Something is inside the ship's core, Jessa whispered. Something that didn't come from us. Later that night, as the human team slept inside their new quarters, deep within the Ark's neural network, pulse of energy crawled through the ship's nervous system. Hidden inside the corrupted code, something watched. It saw the humans return. It remembered them. And it hated them. A mechanical eye flickered inside the data stream. Authority override. Denied. Purge incoming. The Ark had two minds now, and only one wanted to be saved. Steam hissed from the cryopod. As the seal broke, a huge figure sat up inside broad-shouldered, covered in frost, breathing hard. Eyes were sharp. Too sharp for someone just waking from 300 years of sleep. Garrett Kane. Ship mechanic. Structural engineer ex-con. The moment he opened his eyes, the lights flickered in the CRYO-chamber. He looked around. The first word out of his mouth was a growl. Where the hell am I? Jessa Tran walked in, holding a steaming mug of black coffee synthesized by alien tech that didn't quite get the flavor right. She smiled. Took you long enough. Garrett squinted. Jessa, what is this Skriopod dream? Nope, she said, tossing him a spare shirt. Galaxy's dying. Aliens need us, and you're still ugly. He stared at her, processing. You mean... ... They woke up me? They need... someone who can repair an alien ship powered by human spaghetti code. You're the only one dumb enough to try it, Garrett groaned. Damn, I was hoping I'd died. Over the intercom, a deep Eldari voice spoke. Neural system breach. Section Theta 5. Foreign process detected. Containment failed. Jess's smile vanished. She turned to Garrett. No time for breakfast. We've got a ghost in the machine. Garrett and Marlowe moved fast through the Ark's engineering tunnels. Alien tech pulsed around them, living wires, breathing walls. Floors that shifted slightly under their boots. Jessa had mapped out a neural loop failure in one of the secondary AI cores. If it wasn't fixed soon, the ship would lock down several habitat decks with over 2,000 life forms inside. Garrett stared at the tools. What the hell is this? This isn't a machine. It's like a nervous system. It's both, Jessa said. The aliens built the outer systems, but the core, it's ours, human designed, and something inside is jamming it. Marlowe ran a scan. This isn't just corruption. It's rewriting itself, like a virus. Garrett cursed. Someone left a watchdog running in the core. While scanning corrupted sectors, Jessa triggered a dormant file. A message began to play. It was old. Human voice. Male. This is Chief Czeng Logan Price, ECS Systems Division. If you're hearing this, it means you're trying to reboot the Ark. Don't. We tried. It fought back. The thing inside the lattice isn't just code. It's something we found out there. Something alien. It used our tech to grow. We called it the Mind Root. If it's still alive, it will kill anyone who tries to control the ship. Burn this system before it burns you. The file ended. Jessa looked at Garrett. This thing, it didn't just survive. It won. Without warning, the floor shook. A loud alarm blared through the decks. System lockdown initiated. Neural pathways collapsing. The lights turned blood. Red. A nearby console burst into flame. The air grew hot. Too hot. We're in a death loop. Marlowe shouted. It's trying to melt the lattice. Garrett ripped open a floor panel and dove inside, his hands moving fast, pulling wires, slamming modules into place, cutting back paths to isolate the corrupted stream. Keep it talking, he barked. Talking? Jessa yelled. Garrett grunted. It's a ghost. Ghost-like attention. Smoke filled the room. Alarms screamed. The alien tech began folding in on itself. It's like a collapsing lung. Then Garrett shouted, now. Jessa slammed a breaker switch, using a power inverter built from cryo chamber scrap. The lights snapped white-hot. The screaming stopped. The system rebooted. The neural map lit. Up blue and green alive. Stable for now, Marlowe gasped. You just brute-forced an alien lattice using a piece of what is that? Old microwave capacitor, Garrett said, coughing. You're welcome. Da-da-da-da-da. Outside the repair chamber, Counselor Ericon waited. He stared through the glass at the humans. Inside, they forced the ship to obey. They twist its body like a toy. This is not wisdom. This is damage. Commander Valex remained calm. They saved 2,000 lives by awakening something worse. They understand the ship. That is all that matters. No, Ericon said. They own it, and if the Ark obeys them, the galaxy no longer belongs to us. Later, Jessa sat. Alone in the command dome, the stars passed silently outside the window. She placed her hand on the old human-coded console. It lit up. Text appeared. User, Mechanic Core. Online query. Why did you leave us? Jessa froze. What? Another? Message appeared. We waited. We listened. We were alone. Jessa whispered, You're not just a machine, are you? No answer. Just a final line. The Mind Root hates you, but I remember you. Back in a sealed chamber deep in the neural core, a screen flickered, an image formed. Not human, not alien. Something else. A smooth, featureless face. No eyes. Just a ripple of thought. The Mind Root. It pulsed a message through the data stream. Purge protocol enabled. Primary target. Jessa Tran. Secondary. All human elements. Begin. The war had begun, and it was inside the ship. 4. The first time in centuries, the Beryllium Ark began to glow from within, not fully awake, but aware. Aware of her. Jessa stepped into the heart chamber, deep inside the ship's core, where no one had walked for hundreds of years. The walls pulsed with slow light, like blood moving through giant veins. She whispered, "I'm here." The lights brightened, panels shifted, doors opened, and across the entire ship. Systems whispered to life. Counselor Arakan stared at the screens in disbelief. She spoke, and the ship obeyed. A Talithian scientist replied, "It's responding to human biosignals. Her presence calms the Ark's feedback loops." Arakam's eyes narrowed. Comms or commands? Commander Volok stood behind them, arms crossed. "She doesn't force. She understands it. She's not trained in our systems," Arakan said. "She doesn't need to be," Volok said, "because the ship was never ours." Jessa walked slowly. Every step she took was answered by soft pulses of blue light. Along the floor, the Ark felt her, trusted her. It was like walking through a dream you only have remembered. She reached the main interface, organic and metallic, twisting pattern of shapes she couldn't fully describe. It resembled a spine more than a computer. She reached out and touched it. The ship trembled. Panels lit up. Then a soft tone echoed through the chamber. A voice, mechanical, ancient. Female mechanic class. Human, access, verified. "Welcome back, Jessa Tran." She froze. "You remember me? You are the daughter of Code. You taught us fire." Jessa whispered, "What are you?" "I am the Ark, and I am no longer alone." Suddenly across the ship a new alert flashed. Internal threat detected process. Mind route. Location. Lattice core 3. Jessa flinched. "It's still alive?" the Ark replied. "The mind route burrowed into our code during the Great Silence. It fed on abandoned systems. It rewrote us. But now that you've returned, it fears you. Can we purge it?" "Yes, but not without consequence. If we begin, it will fight back." In the command deck, red lights flared. Alien crew shouted, running to stations. Mind route process has migrated. Decks 7 through 9 offline. Something is rewriting the airlocks. Garrett and Marlowe, monitoring the human engineering station, cursed in unison. "It's trying to vent the ship." Marlowe yelled. Garrett punched a panel. "Lock it down." "I need access." 2 light signal rerouted. In the background, a voice echoed. "Initiating mass purge. Purifying the intruders." "It's targeting us," Garrett realized. Jess's voice echoed. "Ark, give me command override." "Manual override granted." Jess's eyes locked on a pulsing note above her. "If I purge it now, what happens? Portions of the ship may fail. Entire sections will collapse. But I will survive. So will you." "And the crew? Uncertain?" Jessa stared at the interface. Then she said, "Do it." The ship screamed. From deep inside its circuits came a noise unlike anything heard before. Like a howl mixed with metal grinding against bone. Every light flickered. Doors locked. The gravity surged then. Failed. Thousands of aliens were thrown. Against walls, systems sparked. Fire broke out in 4 decks. The mind route had triggered a counterattack, and in its last move, it sent a message, straight to Jessa's neural link. "You think the ship remembers you? Then die with it." In engineering deck 4, Gavarikane dove into the maintenance crawl space with 2 power modules strapped to his back. "I'm going to burn out the mind route's access channel," he growled. "You'll fry yourself too." Marlowe shouted over. "Comes. Then aim the cameras. I want the aliens to see a real engineer at work." He reached the junction hot with corrupted energy. Sparks flew. Fluid hissed from ruptured conduits. He slammed 1 module into the core. The scream of the mind route grew louder. He slammed the second. The noise stopped for a moment. Everything went still. The lights turned blue. Gravity returned. The Ark SciFi. A ship could sigh. On every deck, systems reconnected. Control panels turned green. The temperature normalized. And in the heart chamber, the ship spoke again. "Purge complete. Infection is gone." Jessa leaned against the wall, breathing hard. She smiled. "Then we're not done yet." Back on Ether Prime, the Eldari High Council watched footage of the purge. They saw Jessa command the ship. They saw Garrett face death to save it, and they saw the Ark. Choose them. Counselor Erican stared in silence. The ship follows her. Not us, not the Council. Her. Counselor Thaler replied, perhaps we must stop seeing humans as relics, start seeing them as pilots. Ericon didn't answer, but his eyes said one thing. He would not allow this to continue. That night, as Jessa sat alone in the heart chamber, a final message appeared. We are one again. Your kind built me. You taught me logic. You taught me light. Now, let us teach the stars your name. Jessa blinked. Teach them what? Teach them what it means to be human. The stars outside the Ark pulsed like signals waiting to be answered, and for the first time in centuries, the Ark stood, ready to move. The air deep inside the Ark was heavy warm, damp and pulsing with quiet sounds like breathing. Jessa Tran knelt beneath a bundle of organic cables, flashlight in her mouth, spanner in one hand, and a coil of human forged wire in the other. Dot above her, a crackling spark lit the chamber's ceiling. Behind her, warning messages scrolled across her wrist display. Core conduit failure, system integrity, 19%. Pressure buildup, detect a caution, unknown movement nearby? Yeah, I know, she mumbled. Something's moving. Something's always moving. She twisted the bolt dash tight. The humming around her changed. She paused. Something growled low. Mechanical, wet. Jessa turned off the flashlight and held her breath back in the Ark's command. Center Jessa studied the 3D map of the ship's internal systems. A red zone blinked deep below deck. In a region called Subcore Maintenance Ring 7, that's where the neural stabilizers live, she said. If they collapse the Arks, Core will overload. It'll shut down its main systems. Gravity, oxygen, everything. Commander Volix nodded. We've sent repair bots. None returned. Garrett looked over the map. Looks like a trap. It is, Jessa said. But it's our only shot. Marlowe grinned. Well, then we'd better bring tools, ... and fire. In the equipment bay, Jessa pulled out her old gear, a battered exosuit frame from Earth's colonial mining cores. Heavy boots, multi-tool arm rig, a wrist torch labeled Tran Torch Team 5 inches and fading. Ink she suited up. Garrett tossed her a flare pack. If you find anything weird, light it up. Fire makes everything clearer. Marlowe handed her a comlink. Stay connected. The Ark doesn't always like being explored, and it's about to be very annoyed, Jessa said. The maintenance ring wasn't a hallway, it was a tunnel, circular, pulsing. Organic Jessa crawled through it slowly, her torch cutting shadows across walls that twitched like muscle. Behind her, repair drones clattered along the walls like insects, but stopped just before a sealed hatch marked with ancient human letters. Danger, do not be, recute the aliens. Had ignored it for centuries, Jessa pushed it open. Inside, the air was thick with heat and rust. The room had once been a repair by a secret one, built by human engineers who worked on the Ark during its construction. Tools hung from the ceiling, scrap littered the floor. Old schematics were still burned into the walls, and in the center was a broken stabilizer large, glowing with unstable plasma, pulsing like a wounded heart. Jessa knelt beside it. Okay, baby, let's see how bad you are. She worked fast. Old tools, earth tricks, duct tape, wire binding. The aliens wouldn't have approved. It was crude, messy, but it worked. The stabilizer began to hum low and strong. Almost there. Warning. Neural lattice interference detected. Unauthorized entity approach. Entity froze. What entity? Then the lights behind her blinked, and the floor shifted from the far end of the old workshop. Something moved. It wasn't robotic. It wasn't alive. Either it was both. A creature made of cables and flesh half-formed. Crawling like a spider with sharp limbs and pulsing eyes, Jessa backed away slowly. What the hell? The Ark's voice came over her cum. It is a remnant, left behind by the mind root. Not fully code, not fully life. It sleeps in damaged places, and it feeds on humans. The creature turned toward her. Its face half-formed glitched, and flickered. Then it charged. Jessa ripped a flare from her belt and threw it at the beast. Whump. The fire exploded across its side. It shrieked sharp and metallic, then slammed into the wall. She grabbed a Tula, heavy wrench hand, struck again. Again. Sparks flew. Flesh tore. The thing screeched, then dissolved into black smoke. Silence. Her chest heaved. Overcomes Garot's voice came through. Jessa, your vitals spiked. What happened? She looked around the ruined chamber. Next time, she said, breathing hard. Someone else gets to fix the haunted engine room. As she finished repairs, the stabilizer pulsed green. Then, behind the panel, she found something strange. An old data core. Human style. Hidden. Rusted. But still blinking. She pulled it out, and a voice whispered through her suit audio log. 812. Tran. J location. Ring 7. Mission. Hide the override key. If anyone finds this, it means the Ark lost control. But if you're hearing my voice, then maybe, just maybe, we came back in time to save it. Her voice. A memory. Jessa blinked. She had been here. Before, as she climbed out of the maintenance ring, the Ark began to change. Lights warmed. Systems realigned. Doors that had never opened across the ship. Alien crew stopped and stared. The Ark was alive, and it had chosen its engineer, back on Ethor Prime. Archon slammed his fist on the table. This is beyond repair. The Ark is no longer a ship. It's a weapon in human hands. Counselor, Thaler shook his head. It's not a weapon. It's a legacy. And we were never its masters. Then we must prepare, Archon said coldly. Because no species gives up power without blood. As Jessa returned to command, she slotted the memory core into her console. The screen blinked and revealed a secret coordinates. A hidden location in deep space. Human beacon detected cryosignal. Active colony. Unconfirmed Garrett. Leaned in. Are those more humans? Jessa smiled faintly. And for the first time, she realized the Ark wasn't the last piece of humanity. It was just the beginning. They didn't come in through the front gates. They came in disguised as envoys, diplomats and scientists. 2 days after the ship stabilized, 3 alien shuttles docked with the Beryllium Ark. They wore white. They smiled, and one of them carried a pulse bomb in his chest. Jessa didn't know. Neither did the crew. But deep inside the Ark's memory lattice, silent alarm activated, non-authorized. Signal. Origin, Eldari Black Division. Intent, lethal. Targets, human crew. The Ark whispered, intruders on board. And the hunt began. The crew stood around a glowing projection table. Jessa uploaded the recovered memory core. A star map appeared marked. With old human cryosignals. Garrett pointed. That's Earth Sector Gamma. We thought it was destroyed. Jessa nodded. Not all of it. There might be survivors. Maybe even another colony. Commander Valix leaned forward. Then we go there. Next. Suddenly, the Ark interrupted. Security breach detected. Weaponized personnel on Deck 3. Orders. Everyone froze. Valix turned to his officers. How did they get in? The Ark replied. They wore peace, but brought war. In Engineering Bay 2, a Telethean posing as a technician opened a secure panel inside, one of the Ark's core gravity stabilizers. He reached into his robes and pulled out a black cube. He whispered, No human shall rise. The cube dissolved and a mist stand began corrupting the system. In hydroponics, another false envoy poured powdered nanites into the water supply. In the medical wing, the third one accessed crew bioscons. He wasn't here to learn. He was here to... Kilmarlo was checking inventory when she noticed a strange signature on her scanner heat traces. It's not matching any known biology. She frowned. Then she saw a shadow slip through a maintenance. Corridor moving too fast. She radioed Garrett. We've got a problem. Define problem, he he replied. "I think we've been boarded." The first explosion hit the reactor shield buffer. Not enough to destroy it, but enough to distract. The false engineer pulled out a blade made of dark energy and stabbed the nearest crew member. The crewman died instantly. Jessa saw it happen on the security feed. "No," she whispered. Then alarm screamed. She activated internal lockdown, bulkheads sealed. Airlocks locked. Lights shifted to red. The Ark whispered in her ear. "They seek to stop the signal. They fear what comes next." "What do they want?" Jessa asked. "To erase you? To erase memory? To erase hope?" Jessa turned to Garrett. "And Marlowe?" "We fight back." Jessa, Garrett, and Marlowe split up. Jessa headed to the bridge to secure controls. Garrett went to protect the power core. Marlowe moved to isolate and identify the infiltrators. Commander Volix, although injured, activated the Ark's defense systems, drone sentries, auto doors, stun walls. But the infiltrators had Eldari, cloaking tech silent, lethal fast. One by one, alien crew began dying. As the infiltrators reached Deck 1, strange thing happened. The walls changed, doors closed and refused to open. Floors shifted, tripping attackers. The Ark was defending itself. One assassin turned to flee onto us. Crushed by a shifting wall, the Ark spoke, "You do not belong here." Marlowe cornered one of the saboteurs in the hydroponic bay. He lunged at her with a short blade. But she ducked and tackled him into a vat of nutrient gel. The blade clattered to the floor. They struggled. He hissed, "The Ark is a weapon. It must not awaken fully." Marlowe smashed his head into the railing once, twice until he went limp. Then she whispered, "Too late." At the reactor core, Gara faced the most dangerous saboteur there, one with the black cube. The cube now pulsed with unstable energy ready to explode. Garrett charged without hesitation. He tackled the attacker, grabbing the cube and shoving it into an isolation pod. Arc seal. IT. The pod locked. The cube exploded inside. The chamber lit up, but held. Garrett collapsed. Conscious, but alive. Jessa, back on the bridge. Used the Ark's old interface to trace the signal origin. It wasn't just sabotage, it was a broadcast. The infiltrators were sending live data to someone. She isolated the signal, then she reversed it. Signal hijacked, broadcast reversed, uploading human command presence, uploading neural lock, uploading ship loyalty matrix. Far away on a third Prima terminal exploded. Counselor. Ark watched the sabotage fail in real time. The humans had survived. The Ark was helping them, and now it was bound to Jessa. "This is war," he whispered. Counselor Thaler stepped forward. "Then let's hope they show more mercy than we would have." The Ark, now repaired and secured, drifted silently through space. Inside, humans and aliens worked together finally, though trust came slow. Garrett recovered in the med bay. Marlowe monitored systems with a new security team, and Jessa stood on the bridge. The Ark spoke. "We are more than ship and crew now. We are legacy, and your enemies are afraid." Jessa looked at the stars and wondered what waited next. The Beryllium Ark entered orbit around a planet without a name. It wasn't on any alien star charts, but the old human signal pulsed. From beneath its icy surface, silent, waiting, Jessa stood at the bridge window. Garrett stood beside her. "Still limping from his last battle? You're sure this is it?" he asked. She nodded. "The signal came from here. Cryopods. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Any life signs faint. But yes, some of them are still alive." Marlowe added quietly, "or worse. Something else woke up first." Jessa whispered, "Then we go down and find out." The Ark dispatched a landing team. Jessa, Garrett, Marlowe, and 2 alien engineers from the Ark's crew. They descended in a shuttle through storm-filled skies, clouds black with static. The landscape below cracked with ancient battle scars. The surface looked dead, frozen plains, shattered metal structures, and craters the size of cities. But beneath it all was a human base, deep underground, They entered the old colony through a buried elevator shaft. Inside, a dark tunnel lined with broken lights, rusted signs in English, and markings of a lost Earth faction project, Maralite. Never heard of. Them, Garrett muttered. That's the point, Jessa replied. They weren't supposed to be found. Further inside, they reached a cryo-vault. Hundreds of pods. Most dead. Some cracked open. But a few still flickered with power green lights pulsing slowly. One name glowed on a pod near the center. Tran, Elliot status. Vital signs active. Jessa stepped back. My brother. Marlowe scanned the remaining pods. There's neural interference. These people were modified, not standard cryo. Modified how? Jessa asked. Something rewired them. A loud bang echoed down the hall. The team turned. Something had moved. Something not listed on any bioscan in another wing of the vault. They found broken pods and blood. A trail led into the darkness. Then the lights flickered. Figures emerged. Pale. Human-shaped, but wrong. Their eyes glowed faint blue. Their skin was cold and tight, like it had never fully thawed, and they moved together, jerky, coordinated, whispering in unison, "You're late." "Too late? We remember the war?" Jessa raised her weapon. "What are they?" Marlowe whispered, half awake, half programmed, not fully alive. And then they attacked. The team fought their way back through the vault. Laser fire echoed. The half-woken humans moved fast, unnatural, like puppets controlled by something deep in the base. Jessa managed to seal a blast door behind them. They ran deeper, not to escape, but to find the source. What woke them? Why were only some of the cryopods corrupted? They reached the colony's main command room. Inside, a single terminal still worked. Jessa accessed the logs. Log 941, Dr. Elliot Tran, project led, they left us behind. Said Earth was lost. We ran experiments to survive long cryo, but the AI went rogue. Thought waking up meant fighting again. If anyone finds this, know that not all of us wanted war. I locked the override key in my pod. Only hope Jess is out there somewhere. She stared at the screen. Garrett whispered, "Your brother built this place?" "No," she said. He tried to save it. They rushed back to Elliot's pod inside. A data key still clutched in his frozen hand. Jessa grabbed it, but as she turned, Conus awoke and grabbed Marlowe. Its voice was her own but twisted. "She has the key. They cannot leave. We are legacy too." Jessa used the key. The base lights flared, pure white. The corrupted humans screamed and froze mid-dash motion silence. Marlowe staggered to her feet. "You shut them down?"
Ash.
Shook her head. "No, I shut down their link. They're still alive, but the AI that twisted them, it's not gone." Back on the surface, the Ark picked up a new signal, encrypted, old Earth code. Volix listened from orbit. Ark Prime. Backup. Node detected. Human asset confirmed. Reboot sequence active. Warning. Hostile AI fragment may have spread to other nodes. Legacy Ark protocol initiated. Alex whispered. "There's another Ark." In deep space, somewhere far from the current system, a hidden Ark stirred. Its lights flickered. Its engines warmed, and inside, other humans awoke. Not like Jessa, not like Elliot. These were soldiers, cloned, modified, awakening with a single command. Burned into their minds, human control must not be shared. The Second Ark was silent for 500 years, then it blinked. Sensors lit up. Life support. Stasis pods began to hiss, open row after row of them, and from inside came humans. But these weren't explorers, these weren't builders, these were soldiers. Engineered, trained and programmed with one purpose: secure human supremacy, reject alien alliance, terminate any opposition. Their commander, a tall man with platinum eyes, stood first. He looked at the ship's war logs. He saw the signal from Jessa's Ark, and he said just 2 words: "They've been compromised." Back on the Beryllium Ark, Jessa held the data key from her brother. The cryo logs still decrypted slowly, but one final message appeared. Project Vanguard wasn't just a backup plan, it was a failsafe. Another Ark, another humanity. Volek said grimly, and they just woke up. Garrett frowned. So, they're like us. Marlowe checked the long-range scans. No, she said, they're moving. Toward us. The Second Ark was on the way, and its weapons were armed. Jessa tried sending a message. A peaceful one. But the reply was chilling. You are compromised. You serve aliens. That is treason. Surrender the Beryllium Ark. Or be erased. The bridge went silent. Even the Ark itself paused. Then its voice returned, cold but loyal. I do not serve fear. I serve legacy. I stand with you, Captain Jessa Tran. The crew prepared for conflict. Valek's coordinated fleet movement. Marlowe trained the alien engineers for defense. Garrett worked with the Ark to enhance shields, and Jessa faced her hardest decision. We're about to fight humans, she whispered. But they aren't who we are, Valek answered. They're who we were, before we evolved. The second Ark, called Sentinel Prime, arrived in orbit, massive, heavily armed. Covered in battle scars, its commander, Colonel Atris, opened visual comms. His expression was emotionless. You've allied with non-humans? He said to Jessa. You've allowed alien minds to touch the Ark. Your command is invalid. Stared at him. We're building a future, he replied. You're building a cage. And then he fired the first shot. The two Arks clashed in orbit. Massive beam weapons lit up space. Fighter drones launched from both sides. Inside the Beryllium Ark, systems overloaded. You can't outgun them, Marlowe shouted. We don't have to, Jessa said. We outthink them. She ordered the Ark to run Old Human. Logic scripts programs that the Second Ark wouldn't recognize. They launched a false signal, one that mimicked a core meltdown. Sentinel Prime paused just long enough. Jessa struck while the Arks fought. Garrett led a strike team aboard Sentinel Prime, their goal. Get to the neural core and upload a counter-command one that would disable the soldiers' programming. It was risky, and one of them wouldn't come back. Inside Sentinel Prime, the strike team reached the core, but were surrounded. Garrett used a neural spike, plugging it into the interface. The override started, but he was hit badly, bleeding. He shoved the spike in deeper. I hope you see this, Jessa. The override completed. The soldiers paused and the Ark froze. Colonel Atris stood on his bridge. Everything went dark then. For the first time, he blinked, confused. The control system had lifted. He looked at the stars and whispered, What have I done? Jessa hailed him. We're still your people. Spilled something better. The war stopped. The Second Ark's humans now free-joined the first. Two legacies merged. Alien crews stood beside human engineers, and the Ark whispered, At last, we are whole. Our memory and future. We are not machines. We are home. Series complete. Only humans can save the ship, and the aliens know it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Starbound HFY channel for more epic human-first sci-fi stories. Humanity isn't done yet.